Hello friends, good evening. Today we'll talk about the National Education Policy 2020. What is NEP 2020? That is National Education Policy. When you will see the last draft, it was drafted in 1986, which was updated in 1992, and this after this journey of 32 years, it has came into the existence this education policy, and it was drafted under the chairmanship of Krishnaswamy Kasturirangan. You can see his picture on the slide itself. He has drafted this policy under his leadership, and this policy was submitted to the MHRD in 2019, which was approved by the cabinet in 2020 July itself. Then comes why NEP. NEP, that this education policy is talking about the universalization of education. It is talking that our education should be globally accepted, and this education policy is found to be student centric. When you will read this policy, you will find that everywhere it is talking that the student should feel welcome. He should be treated such a way that he should feel welcome, and he should be interested in his studies. And another thing that is talking about the practical approaches. Everywhere this policy is saying that we have to collaborate in such a way that students should get the practical exposure of the things, so that his views should be clear regarding the theory. And when you will see this draft, you will find that it is talking about the SDG, that is the Sustainable Development Goal of United Nations, who has drafted this goals. There were 17 goals, and in 2015, the India adopted the fourth one. So it is saying that in order to fulfill this goal of SDG 4, we have drafted this policy, and this its goal was quality education and the lifelong learning by 2030. So when you will see this national education policy, it is talking about the quality education and the education which is accessible to the all. When you will find that this NAP in the current scenario, what is the requirement of this national education policy? That you will find in this scenario that everywhere the latest technology is there, artificial intelligence is there. Everywhere that not a single subject is sufficient for the student nowadays to have a certain objectivity to fulfill in his life. So now it is talking about the multiple subjects that a student should take, not only a single subject. He should be able to have a command over the other subject where he can do better, so that he can give certain things to the society. So it is talking about the literate technology and discovery oriented, learning oriented policy. It is what is the aim and purpose of this education policy is that to provide the quality education by 2040, which is accessible to the all, and its aim is to revamp all the aspects of the education and align with the aspiration goal of 21st century. When you will see the vision of this policy, you will find that it is saying that we should respect, the students should have the uh, a property, that they should respect the fundamental duty and the constitutional values. And other thing that is talking about is self-awareness. It is talking about the truly global citizenship. That means he is talking the self-responsibility of the student, that students should feel the responsibility that they are the student of nation, to whom they should have the respect, to whom for they have to do the work for the nation itself. When you will see the major problem which we have earlier in our education system, so you will find that these are the certain problem which is written in draft itself, that earlier there were less emphasis on the cognitive skill and the learning outcome. Earlier the education was not based on the outcome, and earlier there was rigid separation of discipline, that the student are not allowed to take the multiple subjects. Likewise, earlier the student, if he want to in the engineering side, so he has to select the PCM or the PCB. Now engineering student can study the history or the economics what he want to. And now this earlier there were no there were less focus on the social economical disadvantaged areas, so it is focusing on that. There are earlier there was limited teacher and institutional autonomy, so they are this draft is giving that now the teacher and the student will have a autonomy. They can decide their work by themselves, and Earlier there was a less focus on the research and its funding, and there were large affiliating university we have. That means in a single umbrella of a university, a lot of institutes we have. So this problem has dissolved in this draft. Earlier, the concept which was used for the universities was that was the deemed to be university, unity universities. There were different terms were used for a higher education institute. Now it will be simply replaced by the term university to have subject of their choices. Now the student is free to take the multiple subject of his choices. If anybody wants to do the engineering and he wants to study the history or the economics, so he can take this subjects. Now the UG program will be of 3 years or the 4 years program. Earlier, this program is of 3 years and the technical courses is of 4 years. And this draft has said that now the student is having a multiple exit option. If he is finding that he has taken the admission in particular subject and he is finding that he is not interested to go for the second year, or he is having the problem, or he is having certain medical emergency, so after the completion of 1 year he will be awarded as a certificate. If he has completed the 2 years and after 2 years he don't want to study, so he will be awarded the diploma. And for after 3 years he will be awarded the bachelor degree, or after 4 years he is awarded a bachelor degree with the research. And this bachelor degree with 3 years, or the bachelor degree with the research 4 year, they are all these certificate or diploma all are having the credit. If any student wants to do the course afterward, he has not to repeat the subjects, or from the first year he has not to repeat the things. Earlier there was a concept that the student, if exit from the course, he has to again join the course from the first year itself. Now this has removed. And this now this after undergraduate undergraduation, if you want to go for the post graduation, it can be of 1 year or it can be of 2 years. If the person has done the bachelor degree with the research, so he has the option that he has to do the only 1 year PG course. And if he has done the bachelor degree with the 3 years, then he has to give 2 years for the post graduation. Now all the credit of these education will be stored in the academic bank of credit. It is nothing but the digital storage of the students. Their credit, academic credit, will be stored, so that if the student has done certain program and he is joining afterwards, so it can be from that academic bank of credit itself, it will be confirmed that what he has done. And when we talk about the MPhil, now this MPhil will not going to be exist, and this bachelor degree with the research, if he has done, so he can go directly to have admission in the PhD also. Now, in continuation to that, it is talking. This draft is talking about setup of incubation centers. It is talking about the collaboration, interdisciplinary research. It is talking about the industry academia linkages. It is talking about the National Research Foundation, so that we have an innovation or the vibration in the research or the students. And when you will see this NRF, this National Research Foundation, will be governed by the different agencies, and that should be independently governed, so that the student will not feel any trouble. We will talk about it later on. Another major changes, it is in terms of optimum learning environment and support for the student. Earlier there was a student were having the choice based credit system, that this will be mandatory for all the institute. Now the student will have the flexibility in the selection of program. Now the student will having the online distance learning mode program, or they are having the they are allowed to take the uh, classes according to their wish or according to their interest. And is this autonomy will be given to the institutes, but this institute will given this autonomy on the basis of their history itself. And you will find that all the institutes which are having the NRF ranking, or which are accredited by the NAC, so they are given this liberty to have their institutional development program, policy, institutional development policy they should have. They can make their policy, they can draft their policy, and they can make the things go on. There, another thing which is this draft was talking about, that the socially economically disadvantaged background students should be encouraged, and they should be supported to have the higher education. Its motive is to increase the access of higher quality education. Another major key change in the national education policy is that it is talking about the internationalization. Internationalization at home, it is talking about the as a Vishwa Guru, as a India. That means here, when we see the data itself, it was saying that around lakhs of the students, around 7 lakhs of the students go out yearly from the India to take the study at abroad, and around 47,000 of the students from different countries are coming to the India. So, in order to have that, to stop that outflow of the student, we are bringing this education policy is bringing the universities at in India itself. Now, the topmost universities the um, all over the country are they are permitted to open their campus in the India itself. This is the objectivity of this internationalization at home, and as and another aspect of this is that it is also we have the aim in this policy that the culture or the study we have in our India, like we have a yoga, we have a Ayurveda, that we can bring to the at the international level, so that we can or the economy of the country can be gained out by bringing that these system to the other countries. It is also talking about the dual degree or the double degree and the joint degree. There are two terms are there: dual degree, double degree, and the joint degree. Dual degree and double degree, it is having the same meaning. Earlier, it was there that one is allowed to do only a single degree. Now, it is there that the person is permitted to do the two degrees at a time. If it is he is permitted to do the two degrees at a time, that means if he want to do the BTech and the MBA, so he is allowed to do the BTech and MBA in a parallel way. He want to do the BTech from another one institute and MBA from the other institute, he is permitted to do the same. And parallelly, this is a dual degree or the double degree, while the joint degree term is there, which is saying that if someone want to do the BTech from a one university, and in between he want to continue BTech from the third year to another university, or from the international university he want to do, so he can do that. For that, he has to go there itself and can join that particular university and do their final year or the third year from wherever he want to do the uh, part of the degree. But there the percentage is mentioned around 80 to 20% ratio is given, and for that there is requirement a certain collaboration is there, so that is has to be taken care of. And now we have a topmost university in our country. So it is said that we have a education, topmost education in our India itself, in our country itself. So that will also encourage the students to have a quality education. That will also encourage our teachers also to have a good institute, so they can shift in the good institute also. In parallel, we may say that it may harm our own university, because our good teachers may shift there. But parallelly, we have an advantage that we have a good culture or the good environment from that universities, and our university will also they will also when they will compete with the other international universities, they will also increase their caliber, or they will also increase their environment, so our student will be totally benefited from that. Another thing which it is talking about is the motivated, energized, and capable faculty. So it is talking about this policy is talking about to have a good quality teachers in our higher education institutes. So they are saying about that freedom should be given to the faculties, and there should be the transparent process and criteria for their recruitment. The fast track promotion system will be there. This should be the part of institution development plan, where the institute has to give this plan, and the teacher student ratio has to be also taken care of. Then, what is the other point which is mentioned in this policy is the equity and the inclusion in higher education. So in order to achieve this policy in a higher term, it is said that some steps has to be taken by the government, some steps has to be taken by the higher education institute, that is the university itself. So what it is saying that in order to fulfill this national education policy, some steps has to be taken by the government. These steps are that government should take care of the funds. So government should set the clear target for the growth enrollment ratio, gross enrollment ratio. It is also will take care of the gender balance in admissions. Also develop and support higher education institute that will teach in local and Indian language or bilingually. They will also provide the financial assistance scholarship to the both public and the private higher education institute, or they will also have a provision to conduct the outreach programs. They will also support or develop the technology tools for the better participation and the learning of the students. This is a part that is a part governed by the government. Apart from that, some steps have to be taken by the institute itself. That is what mitigate the opportunity cost of the fees for pursuing higher education, financial assistance and scholarship to the socially economically disadvantaged students. Apart from the government, they should also take care of this. They should make admission process curriculum more inclusive and increase the employability, ensure all winning facilities for the disabled friendly, develop bridge courses for the student of disadvantaged education background, provide socio-economic and academic support and mentoring. They strictly enforce that all no discrimination anti-harassment rules should be there. Develop institutional development plan. Apart from that, it is also talking about the teacher education, because the teacher education ultimately will govern the education of a student. So the teacher should be such or should be grounded in Indian values, language, knowledge, ethos, tradition, including tribal tradition, latest advantage, education, and pedagogy. It is planned that by 2030, only educationally sound and multidisciplinary and integrated teacher education program will be in the force, and the all multidisciplinary universities and colleges are aimed to establish the education department. Now, as the B.Ed course is there, this 4-year B.Ed course will be the minimum education qualification for the school teachers, and also 2-year B.Ed for the who are having the bachelor degree, and for the student those who are having the 4-year undergraduate degree, they have to do the 1-year B.Ed degree. So this is a they are also making it mandatory for the teachers so that we have a quality education in our system. And they are also planning to include that for the PhD fresh entrant, they are required to take the credit-based courses in the teaching, education, pedagogy, writing related to their chosen PhD subject during their doctoral training period. They are also providing a certain platform, that is a Swam or Diksha, for training the teachers online. There are also major changes is there, that the vocational education they are enforcing, or they are promoting the vocational education by the data itself. You can see that by 2012 to 2017, that is a 12th 5-year plan. When you will compare this vocational training education with the different countries, with the India, you will find that the higher vocational education will be provided by South Africa, while in the India itself it is only less than 5%. Now it is the time where we must not feel that it is an inferior system. It is planned that in this education policy that by 2025 we have 50% of the learners should have this vocational training. And now this bachelor in vocational degrees will exist. It will continue as it was introduced in 2013. It will remain as it is. And they are also saying that in order to promote this vocational training, so this higher education should be also permitted to have a partnership with the industry or the NGOs, so that they can provide the complete and the quality training to the students. This education policy is also promoting to set up the incubation centers, so that the student get the benefit from their universities. Then another thing that it is talking about the National Research Foundation. Its key is to have to provide the fund to promote the research, to have a quality to have the quality product in the market from the at the nascent stages of the university itself. So this is a National Research Foundation, which is governed by the by the government itself. They will provide all type of funds, and they will also promote the researchers to have a quality product in the market that is outcome based product they are promoting. Then from the UGC that transforming this regulatory system to higher education. So they are making that all should be come under one umbrella, that is Higher Education Commission of India. Now there is only one thing will be remain, that is Higher Education Commission of India. Under that there will be the four categories, that will be the National Higher Education Regulatory Council that will maintain the regulation, and another is the accreditation council that will maintain the accreditation, and higher education ground council that will maintain the funding. Here this National Research Foundation will come, and general education council will maintain the academic standards. Another bodies will come under the professional standard setting body, like veterinary council of India, or we have a different councils that will come under professional standard setting bodies. Then their main aim is also to curb the commercialization of education, that is by keeping the cap over the fees, so that the student feel not must not feel harsh that they are charged more. So they are also making that it is not for profit. So that is also one of the basic changes they have. Next change is the implementation, and when the implementation comes, that means it's a broad term, and it is very difficult, or it is very tough task for the government to implement this. So it is taking this policy is taking the help of all the from the central government to the state government, that everybody should be involved to plan out or to execute this policy. So it is talking about that it include by the various body, including MHRD, which is now Ministry of Education. It is converted into Ministry of Education, and is the CAP, that is the Central Advisory Board of Education, and union and state government education related ministries, state department of education boards, that is the national testing agencies, regulatory bodies of schools and higher education, that is NCRT, SCRT, schools and higher education institute, along with timeline and plan of for the review. They will review time to time. These will be the various these bodies are going to help us to implement this national education policy. When they will talking about the implementation, they are saying that it should be stepwise, that whenever the implementation has to be taken place, it should be the spirit and the intent of policy should be maintained. They are saying that in in the second step they are saying that it should be in the phase manner, it should not be in a harsh manner, it should be in the phase manner, so that it should be implemented successfully. Then next they are saying that the priority has to be decided, which has to be done first, then accordingly it has to be planned. Then uh, fourth step, it is saying that all the desired objectivity which was there, it has achieved or not, it has to be taken care of. Then careful planning, joint monitoring, collaborative implementation, it is talking about of the state and the central. Then last one, that six, it is saying that all the infrastructure or the financial requirement which is required to implement that has to be infused, so that the it should be this policy should be implemented carefully, and whenever we are implementing it, it should be watched carefully and reviewed properly, so that if there are certain changes are required, or the certain things are that has to be implemented, that can be implemented time. And it is also saying that it's a joint review. It is not a work of a single entity. And in the decade 2030 and to 2040, the entire policy will be in operation mode. This draft is saying that it will be in the operation mode by 2030 to 2040. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.